Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.
Welcome to the podcast.
Stay tuned.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the program. I'm Zev Brenner. Very pleased to have with us right now is Rabbi Dr. Jack Cohen. He is internationally acclaimed dating and marriage coach. So, Shavua Tov, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Zev. How are you?
Good, thank God, thank God. So tell me, what's going on? First of all, let's start with the singles. Why are there so many singles today? Why are they having trouble meeting? I know COVID didn't help things, but even before COVID, there was a shidduch crisis. In your professional opinion, you've coaching people, you've helped people get married. What's going on from your perspective?
A lot of people are being misdirected because of what, there's a secular society out there that misleads them, and they get off target. They don't have a clear focus of who they are and what they need. And as a result, they live in what we call olam hadimyon, in the world of fantasy, trying to get something that's really not there. It doesn't really exist. You understand? They try to have a mindset of trying to find someone that could have all these qualities, but that person is like a Chinese menu put together in their head. And as a result, they end up wasting time instead of being realistic and understanding what their needs are, which simply comes down to, Zev, creating a top 10 list, sitting down with someone like myself or a rabbi or a mentor and determining what you need, not what you want. Want are superficial, like money or how tall or color hair. Needs are midos. For example, is the guy generous? Does he have, a desire to build a family? Does he have any issues of flexibility? Is the girl a balabusta? Is she interested in taking care of her children? Is she kind? Is she considerate? Is she a balat chesed? They're not looking for the right things. And as a result, they're wasting their time. And when they have so many online databases to look at, it becomes a problem of TMC. Way too much choice. And they can't figure it out, and they're stuck in confusion.
But is it the problem of secular society? You hear stories of people saying, well, I won't go out with that person, he doesn't wear a black hat, or this person wears this kind of a yarmulke, or whatever the situation might be. So it's nothing to do with secular society, it has to do with some of the values within our own community where we're limiting ourselves because of that.
Now, there is some justification for that. If we're dealing with a 21-year-old girl and a 23-year-old boy, and there's a very clear lane of where they believe they belong, as we get up there in 30, 35 category, you've got to now eliminate these kippah sruga versus black hat, or maybe previously married. Certainly, if a person is over 30, a girl over 30, she needs to entertain a guy who's been previously married. Oftentimes, I show girls resumes of guys who have been previously married. No, it's not for me. Wasting decades of their life. It depends on how old they are. They can be far more, judicious when they're younger, but they have to expand those parameters as they get older. Otherwise, they're going to be waiting a long time on the sidelines.
Now, from what I understand, some of the yeshivas have said if you marry somebody older than you, they're willing to make some concessions or willing to make some compromises for them. So is that something which you're seeing more of now?
You're talking about the girl being older?
Yes, exactly.
I'll tell you that the younger guys are still not that comfortable with it. Only because of the fact that it's a societal thing that they're not used to. And most of the time, girls are far more mature than boys. So it's not something that I'm seeing a lot of, like a 21-year-old boy to a 23-year-old girl. But if I have a client who's 29 or 30, such a man, I have no problem showing him a dating resume of a 32, 33-year-old. Again, the parameters get much wider as we get up with the older singles, because we're trying to do whatever we can to lower the bar and get more people out there married.
Well, what's the name of the game? Now, are you a fan of the resumes that are become popular?
You have to have it today. That's the first entry point into the game. Meaning that unless I see you at a Shabbaton or a singles event, I don't know anything about you. And so today we have a market which spans over many cities. So how am I supposed to, myself or any other shopman, supposed to make an introduction on behalf of someone in LA, without really having a document? The document is like your currency. That is like that ticket that gets you into the stadium. Yes, I am to some extent, yeah, because that's the first opportunity to meet someone or to to tell your friend, you know what? I have this great guy, this great girl. Let me just ship you the bio or the resume. It's certainly not a detractor. You understand? It doesn't do anything bad. If anything, it allows an introduction to be facilitated more quickly and more efficiently.
But you said before, sometimes because of the secular society of putting the wrong emphasis on things, wouldn't having your resume make...
I'm going to tell you the wrong emphasis is, for example, disposable society, disposable everything. You know what? I'll tell you very interesting. Benzion Schaefer sent me a book this summer that he's interested in publishing. He sent me the manuscript. It had a cute story in there. He was having dinner in a place called Doma, which is a steakhouse in the Five Towns, and he overhears a conversation taking place behind his table with three guys, and one guy's telling his friends, you know what? I got married to my first wife too late. As a result, my selection for my second time around is slimmer. That means he already went into the whole parsha with one foot out the door. What happened to the days when our parents or even people or ourselves, we work hard at something. But today, you know what? It's already, you're going with a mindset, if I don't like it, I'll exchange it. And that has permeated in every aspect of our living in terms of in everything we do. You know, you lost the sweater in camp, I'll replace it with Gap or whatever it is. You understand? So as a result, it's a mindset that I'm not in it, I'm not willing to work at it, and I'm not willing to do whatever it takes to keep it.
So you're touching on the divorce crisis, which might even be bigger than the shidduch crisis. So the point is, though, if the parents aren't teaching and the yeshivas aren't teaching it, where are the young couples supposed to get the information? They're not getting it anywhere.
People listen to me in seminaries in Israel, and many guys come out of the mirror, and the first stop, at least pre-corona, when they land at JFK, is they come to my office to talk dating. Minimally, they may be getting 5 minutes with a mentor or a mashgiach, but a lot of them are not getting the education. I mean, I did this, you have to understand something. I was trained as a physician, and that was to do surgery, and that's what I did. But I had a communal strive inside me that always wanted to help people. So I taught subjects like Mishnah, Gemara to guys coming out of Israel. Many of them stayed after class and asked me questions about the girls that they wanted to go out with. And I answered the questions, and I read many articles on the subject. On my own, I went out there and lectured and created toolbox lectures. But Hashem, I have close to 500 lectures on dating, on Torah anytime. People should go on there and check out my lectures. I deal with everything. But yeah, unless a person takes a vested interest in looking for the wisdom, they're not getting it. And as a result, they're at a loss. And so you have wonderful people coming from good homes that don't have the skills or the toolbox in order to be able to live life and act like mensches, both men and women, in relationships, and unfortunately find themselves in early divorces.
Well, we live in a disposable society. If a problem arises, don't fix it, just change it. That's really what it boils down to in lots of cases. Where if they really put their minds to it and try to work it out, they can work it out. But if they don't, and that's why you have so many divorces, including in the frum community, for that reason.
Right, but listen, there are no winners in divorces. It's, as they say,
there is a winner, the lawyer.
It's easy to get married, but it's hell to get divorced.
Right.
And I have to deal with a lot of these ramifications from people who reach out to me. And what about the unfortunate korbanos like the kids who are the consequences of these things? There's so much trauma. It's very interesting. I happen to learn every morning I teach in a couple of yeshivas, where shuls actually in Flatbush. One of them is with a divorced man. I feel sorry for the guy. Second half of Yom Tov, he went to Mexico for a trip to see if there's something out there, and then the other times of on this weekend, you have to take these kids for Shabbos, and then who's going to take them? Sometimes they fight over who's going to, watch the children. It's no picnic. It's no picnic at all. It's hell. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, unless it's a circumstance where you have true pathology or toxicity, or someone is tremendously abusive, and you need to get out of that relationship. But isn't it much better to learn how to find the right person, and then once you stay with the right, once you're there, how to keep that relationship? It requires education, but they're just not getting it. One of the things I'll tell you interestingly, I was a Talmud of Rabbi Miller since I was 12 years old, and I make it my life's work to disseminate a lot of his diamonds. One of them is the 10 Commandments of marriage. A lot of the people who come to me, when they're single and even when they're engaged, I give them classes individually on this, and I've done it for Torah anytime, again and again. Again, you can't lose when you're armed with the necessary tools to live and thrive.
Now, should we also be doing, we don't do it, especially in the very frum community, especially for older singles, shouldn't we have more social events? I know Ura has retreats for the singles can meet, but shouldn't there be more events?
More retreats, Zev, are only limited to people who've never been married or engaged or anything. So it leaves a lot. Yes, we need more. We lost that segment to COVID. It's coming back, but I don't know how successful it is. I mean, I'm on many chats relating to dating, and they have, online type of events. To what extent that they're successful, I don't know. I just don't know.
Well,
we need more face-to-face again.
Face-to-face, I think it's certainly there's something to be said for it.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Yeah, they have these online meet and greet type of things. To tell you the truth, I don't know how much you can get to learn someone on the phone. You know what I'm saying? You have to meet them. There's a whole thing to a face-to-face thing, the energy that comes across between both of you, obviously the chemistry, the attraction, intellectually, emotionally. Yes, we need more of them. It's a challenging time in life between the pandemic and other factors.
Rabbi Dr. Jack Cohen is our guest, international dating and marriage coach. When we come back, we continue our conversation.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Talkline radio and TV with Zev Brenner is just phenomenal. Everybody concerned about the Jewish community should listen and watch. He has the best guests. He asks the most interesting questions. He's always so well prepared. It's talk radio and television from a Jewish point of view at its very best.
To advertise on the Talkline network and Talkline's email and social media blasts reaching over 70,000 people, please call 212-769-1925, extension 100. That's 212-769-1925, extension 100. Or email info@talklinenetwork.com.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Okay, we are looking at relationships, and our guest for a little while longer is Rabbi Dr. Jack Cohen, international dating and marriage coach, and he's worked both with singles as well as with the divorced people. So, Rabbi Dr. Jack Cohen, so what do you see as how do people get out of the rat race? How do they get out of the situation where they're having trouble getting married, whether they've been single or been divorced?
A lot of it has to do with what kind of conversation they're conducting when they date. And that's critical. I see a lot of people who just don't have the conversation down. And as a result, they don't know what to communicate, and their communication is not effective, and it's a dead end. Much of my work is to help people become more effective communicators. Because it comes down to whoever you end up having a great relationship with, Zev, it's because you were able to communicate with them in a way that allowed you to get closer to them and build a kesher. So you need to learn how to build a kesher to someone. And if you can't do that, it becomes a dead-end street. One of the things that I really focus on is I do dry run practice dating with a lot of my clients. Today we can do it on Zoom and WhatsApp video worldwide. And when they have the right questions to ask, for example, I've created a PDF of 100 questions to ask. so you can get the tachlis. Because every date that you go on should have a purpose and a plan. And if you need help today. I'll tell you something. You don't do this work because it pays a lot of money. I mean, you have to cover your expenses, but the kind of money that I made as a physician far outstrips what I do here. I do this because I love this. I want to help people get married. And a lot of the times what I see and when you do this 10, 11 hours a day, 6 days a week, you see patterns. One of the patterns is if a person doesn't know how to communicate and what to speak about and what their goals are, then as a result, their efforts are really blindsided and they don't see success.
But isn't sometimes where they go out too little, they really don't get to know each other and they get married? And you hear stories, I've heard stories of people on the wedding night they got divorced or a couple of days later because they didn't really explore who they are and who they want to be with sufficiently. They didn't have enough advice or they don't know how to date, period.
Right, exactly. Which is why, whether it's me or someone else, today there's never been a greater need for dating mentors. First of all, to help you create a top 10 list. Why? Because that flushes out who you are, and you understand who you are and what your needs are. Just tonight, there was a 21-year-old girl that was sent to me by a Rosh Yeshiva because she was going out with one of his boys. And when I heard her out, and I said, they were complaining that she wasn't being deep enough. So I said to her, is he asking you questions? And she said, no. So I shipped the Rosh Yeshiva the PDF. I said, have the boy study these questions. There's no way she's going to go out there and expose her vulnerability just without being asked questions. And they went out, and he didn't ask her any questions again. And I said to her, it's just not for you. He's going in a different angle. He's not making an effort to get to know you. And where you are, like, comfortable with yourself, because after I spoke with her, she's a girl from the Beis Yaakov movement, but she enjoys this world. She wants to go to the Miami beaches, and she wants to go to LA or Israel, etc. And this guy was more of a Baal Tshuva who looked askance at her, oh, you travel, you do this. So I said to her, I don't think this is a match for you. So this quickly ended, and it ended nicely after 7 dates without any kind of like emotional trauma, because we came to the conclusion, we explained to her who she is and what she should be looking for. And when the other person wasn't coming across, getting to know her and ask her questions, it's not for her. Because the man, I have to explain something to you, it's very important. The man must be the mashpia. The man must be the giver. He has to lead. He has to be the one to give the warmth, the affection. He has to direct. He may not be the most savviest or the most, out there personality, but he has to lead. If he's not going to lead and drive the car, it's a problem.
So I go back to what I said earlier. If it's not something which you just all of a sudden wake up when, okay, I'm ready, I'm in the Parsha.
No.
And you say, okay, I'm ready. It doesn't work that way. By the way,
right.
Just a quick joke. In 2 weeks' portion, they say Rivka says to her father, Daddy, I want to get married. And Terech goes, you're only 3 years old, Rivka. Why do you want to get married? She goes, I'm in the Parsha. So people may be in the Parsha, but they don't know what to do. They may act like a 3-year-old.
Right. Yeah. Knowledge is powerful. And if you lack it, you're really at a loss. Which is why you should contact me.
Okay.
I'll help them.
Okay, no, you coach them, but what I'm saying to you is maybe we should also be coaching the parents and also coaching the yeshivas how to train the boys and girls how to date and what to look for in marriage.
The problem is they give it short shrift. That's the problem. It's not important. They have to spend 3-4 hours of learning, and this doesn't get any time whatsoever until there's a crash in the guy's personal life.
Certainly a big issue. And do you find that sometimes people go out on too few dates before they get engaged?
I don't allow that. I would never allow that because it's just too. It happens, but thank God, not under my watch. It's just way too dangerous today.
About how many dates should one go out? And again, it's hard to
give a specific number, but anything from 10 to 16. You want to hit double digits at least. You want to ensure that you've seen them in every different type of environment and situation. And that's why one of the most critical things you need to do in dating is to vary the dates. Some dates are romantic dinners, other dates are walk under the Brooklyn Bridge, another one is a paint night, another one is a arcade night, another one is a chesed together. See them in from different vantage points. Because you never know what you might learn in a different environment. That might either help the relationship or give you an indication that it's not for you.
Now, what about the role of parents? Because sometimes they also have an important say in lives, and you have occasions where people get married and the parents meddle in the children, which could lead to divorce.
Yes. The problem is like this. Too many parents want to live their dreams through their children and can mess their kids' lives up terribly. And as a result, I had a girl come in here whose father is a very prominent architect. And he already had a determination for her what last names he was interested in. So even if I showed him resumes of solid guys from solid backgrounds doing well, no, they didn't fit his criteria socially. So oftentimes they destroy their kids' lives because they want to live their dreams through them, or they see their children as nothing but as a ladder for social mobility. They should be involved to some extent, but they have to be cautious not to try to make this a personal agenda.
I guess easier said than done, right?
Absolutely.
And now, can a prescription for a good marriage be between somebody who is a lot more religious and somebody who's maybe a Baal or Baal's tshuva or returning to Judaism, may not be as knowledgeable? How compatible does one have to do? Opposites attract, or do we allow it has to be as similar as possible?
Opposites attract in terms of personality, meaning that I have a rule. In terms of matching people up with their personalities, I don't want to put two pussycats together and two tigers. I want one tiger and one pussycat. It's not relevant to which one is the man or the woman. It could be either. But when it comes to religion, no. I have a rule. I've always told, I want them to be somewhat compatible, where the girl even is a little bit more than the guy. But there can't be a wide divide. A woman comes up to, I'll give you an example. I'm dealing with a shalom bias issue in Las Vegas. With a woman herself, she's in her 40s, a prominent banker. Okay. She walks 3 miles to get to the Orthodox Kollel Minyan there. Her husband, not interested whatsoever. So he just gets into his car after watching TV at 11 o'clock and shows up for the Kiddush, Shabbos morning. You can't imagine the horrible shalom bayis problems they're having in this house, to the point where they just recently separated. It just doesn't work. You have to have a religious compatibility. Like I said, even if the woman's a drop more, it's also good. But if you have a wide divide, it's just not. It's a no-go.
But that's.
I had this again. I sorry to cut you off. 38-year-old woman living in Florida, from Chicago originally, and this past summer went back to Chicago to date. She's dating a doctor. She's modern Orthodox, but he's not interested in anything whatsoever religiously. And I said to her, Michal, you're wasting your time. It's not going to go anywhere. Because when you start talking to them minimally, like what makes us unique as Jews? Torah and mitzvos, right? Keeping Shabbat and all that beauty. If it means nothing to him, what connection? A lot of who we are and we forge our bonds with others is because of, I'll see you on Yom Tov, or Shabbos, I'm coming over, or something like that. If it's not relevant, and it's not important to him, so it's going to be very difficult creating a kesher.
Certainly is. Rabbi Dr. Jack Cohen, I want to thank you for being here with us. If people want to learn more, they want to contact you, how can they do so?
Oh, in so many ways. They can call me or text me or WhatsApp me to my phone, 305-206-1916. I see people in my beautiful office that I just built out in Flatbush where I live. Or they can email me, Dr. Jack Cohen 18 at gmail.com, DrJackCohen18 I want to put it out there. Though I live in New York, I have a Florida number because I taught at University of Miami for Eshet Torah and Or Sameach for 7 years. This kind of stuff. And so when I moved back, and I moved back specifically, Zev, to ensure that my girls would have good shidduchim, and they got great shidduchim, but I didn't want to remove my number because I had so many students who need to contact me, so.
And the way things are going, people moving from New York to Florida, so you can be in both places.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I heard so many cases of people moving to Miami and other parts of Florida. It seems to be the popular flavor of the moment. But
yes, it is.
Why don't you give your phone number one more time?
I'm sorry, my phone number?
Sure, one more time, yes.
My phone number, 305-206-1916. Again, if you need help in dating shalom bayis, regardless of how old you are, I've done shidduchim from 18 to 75, even 80. You can contact me from anywhere in the world because today we're really a small global village. So, and I'll help you, whether it's to train you, write a resume for you, top 10 list, get you matched up. 305-206-1916. Call me. If you don't get me, WhatsApp me or text me, and I'll gladly get back to you.
Rabbi Dr. Jack Cohen, International Dating and Marriage Coach, thank you for being here with us.
It's an honor to be here, Zev. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Thanks for listening.
For continuous Jewish programs, TalklineNetwork.com or our 24-hour-a-day listen line at 641-741-0389. For past shows, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Instagram, and all major podcast platforms or jewishpodcast.org. Thanks for listening to the TalklineNetwork.com.
Talkline Network Radio, America's longest-running Jewish broadcast network, the voice of the Jewish community.